Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on Veiled Intentions by Michael R. Miller. This is the second book in the Dragon's Blade trilogy. It just came out recently this year, and if you're curious on my thoughts of the first book, I did a book review for this, and it'll be up in the card symbol, and you can check it out if you would like to. I'm going to keep this spoiler free, however, so you don't have to worry about any spoilers if you haven't read the first book. In the first book, you follow a character named Darnawir. He is the prince of the dragons, and the dragons in this world no longer have a dragon form. They just basically look like humans. They're just stronger and have more endurance than humans do. They also live a little bit longer. And the dragon kingdom is being attacked by these demons, and during the battle, Darnawir is injured to the point where he's going to die. So a wizard takes it upon himself to use a spell to save Darnawir's life, and what happens is that he has to be turned back into a baby and live his life over again. But with this life, he's raised with humans, and so he has a different perspective on the world and the things happening in it. When he becomes of age, he ends up inheriting the Dragon's Blade, which is the blade that the King of the Dragons wields. It has magical powers and is one of the best swords in this world. And then he must become the King of the Dragons and fulfill that role. It follows a couple of other characters as well, and you start to meet all of the different races and everything like that. I ended up giving that book 4.25 stars, I believe, and obviously this one continues the first book's story. As usual with my book reviews, I'm going to go through my pros, give you my cons, give you my rating, and be done. My first pro for this book is going to be that I had some concerns about the first book, mainly the fact that Darnawir kind of acts out of character for certain things, and I really liked that in this book he's giving consequences for those actions, and it's not just brushed over. He has some real consequences for the things that he does in the first book. He doesn't get to ignore that he's made some mistakes. He has to address them and try to fix them if he's able to, and so I appreciated the realistic nature of those situations. Another thing that I like about this world is the magic system. That magic is very addictive and toxic, and when you use too much magic, it has real consequences where it ages you immensely and hurts your body and everything like that. So using magic, you want to keep using it, but you know that you shouldn't because it's bad for you, but you can't help it because you really need it. So it was very interesting to see some of the characters have to deal with those addictions and deal with the fact that they sometimes have to use magic, so it's not helping the fact that they are addicted to it. I think in this book the main characters that you follow really develop a lot in this book, and they grow a lot and change, and I think that they actually become a lot more mature than they were in the first book, so I really liked seeing that growth. And I like that the world in general was expanded. I was really excited in the first book to learn about the different things, and I was really hoping that in this book we would learn even more, and I'm very glad to say that we did learn more, especially in terms of the religions of this world, really focusing on the dragon's religion and how either having faith in that religion or not having faith in that religion really affects how the dragons think about the world and how the dragons think about the other races and their race, etc. And I really liked learning about the human population's dynamic when it comes to power holding. And there's the king of the humans, but then there's also the humans that live on these islands that are semi-independent. And then there's the lords of the humans that are also trying to vie for power, and seeing the politics of this world start to play a role in the story was very exciting for me. You learn a little bit more about the fairies of this world and why they are in decline, and then you also get perspective from a specter, which was really interesting and something that I really appreciated because I really did like learning about the specters and how they're set up and how they interact with Castellan and the evil people of this world. So really like seeing all of that and learning about it. Another thing that I liked is that this book is kind of two books in one. The first half has some conflict and some resolution, and then the second half has another conflict and another resolution. So I really like that you really get your bang for your buck with this book because there is, I guess, really two stories in one a little bit. And the way that this ends has so much potential for the third book, and it kind of went in directions that I wasn't really expecting. I guess in hindsight I should have been, but I think that the things that develop towards the end of this novel are going to be extremely interesting in the third and final book. Now onto some of my cons. My first con is going to be that I didn't feel like this book was as pressing and the characters weren't as driven as they were in the first book. I felt like they took their time doing things, and so reading this book was a bit slower than the first one, where the characters are kind of all over the place and they're moving really quickly and having battles and trying to figure things out. And my only other con that I could think of is that I think that the trolls are a missed opportunity with this series so far. I hope that they become a bigger part of the story later on, but the trolls are so interesting, and where they live and how they live and their religious system and everything like that is all very interesting, and I feel like there's so much potential there, but they're not being used, and I wish they would be. They kind of remind me of the Ents in the Lord of the Rings. I feel like the trolls, if Michael wanted to use them, could become so cool and badass. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. The world being expanded and the religious system and the magic systems all being expanded and explained a little bit more, as well as learning more about the different races and everything like that, were fantastic, and I loved it. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading the 3rd book when that comes out next year, hopefully, and seeing how it's all going to wrap up. So that's going to be my review on Veiled Intentions by Michael R. Miller. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up, and comment down below if you've read the Dragon's Blade trilogy / the first 2 books. Are you interested in reading it now? Have you read anything similar? Anything you want me to know, leave it down below, and I will talk to you guys next time.